Hey everybody, welcome to today's edition of the Daily Market Commentary. It is Monday, the 4th of December. Hope everybody had an absolutely great trading day, had a great weekend, and we are kicking it off the way that we always do. So when we are looking at the markets, we do the same thing each and every day here in the Daily Market Commentary. We try to find 10 to 12 futures markets, and we really leave the lines on the charts. The reason we leave the lines on the charts is because we want you to see what we're looking at and why we make the decisions that we do. The decisions that we make really come down to what are the opportunities that the market's giving us. So today was kind of an interesting day in the markets, a big difference between the S&P and the Nasdaq today. And so, we're starting to see, we talked about it last week. I think I mentioned it a couple of times last week. We're really seeing the FANG stocks kind of falling out of favor. The sector rotation is really rotating a little bit out of the S&P, out of the technologies and more into financials, as we're seeing financials really having some strength. So pretty strong moves down today in some of the technology sectors, which is really having a rippling effect overall. So let's go ahead and get into it. First of all, before we even get started, what I want to say is today was one of the most boring trading days I've had in a really long time because nothing came into my area, literally. Nothing. So I don't have a whole lot to cover today because my areas are fairly far away. My high probability opportunities are fairly far away from my current prices. Now, I will say that we still have an opportunity off of this fair price value area in here where we just did a touch and go off of Friday's news or fake news or wannabe news or whatever news. Don't really care, by the way. I'm not being political there. I'm just stating the fact that the market's moved down and then shot right back up. It's amazing that it dropped right down into our potential buy point. So, but that being said, that level is still valid. I think that we may actually get a little bit of a reversal off this area right here. So for those of you that are into overnight trading, there is, in my mind, going to be a little bit of an opportunity right in here. I'm gonna mark this area off, but I'm gonna put it with a little bit of a dashed line. And remember that a dashed line means that price has to trade into the region by 33% before I'm going to be interested into it. So I want to get long as it comes out of the area, remembering that my target is going to be the opposing fair value. So right now my opposing fair value would be this area up in here. Now, I'm tempted to put a short right here. I really am, but I'm not doing it. I'm not shorting this market. Scott, I think it was, had asked me a question on Twitter earlier today about if I was shorting the reversal in the S&P. The answer I had was most unequivocally no. I'm just not shorting at these levels. There's no reason in my mind to short the S&P until I at least get a daily level of supply a daily level where I've got some resistance up above me that I think that price can come down. So for where it is now, I'm not selling. I've got potentially a long right here if you want to get right back engaged. Let's take a look at the Nasdaq. Now the Nasdaq, we had a breakout long up here. Price was never able to get above there. We fell. This was on Friday's news announcement. There should have been no entry on Friday's news announcement. It really didn't give us a reason to jump in. And then, oh, look at this. We just completely fell apart in the early morning hours today. Had a little bit of a rally in the morning time and then now have continued to fall. We do have a buying opportunity a bit lower. I got to put a little bit more time here. Instead of 20 days, let's do 90 days. So if I go back to my 90-day time period, you'll be able to see that we have that little fair price area right in there where I think that we could get a little bit of a reversal. That would be my best buying point on the Nasdaq right through here. But once again, that Nasdaq is really being spearheaded down. A lot of technology stocks took a big chunk today. So down 1.5% in the Nasdaq. Once again, that's not a tremendously huge down day, but for the, what is typically our leading index to take such a big hit really kind of scares people off, in the Nasdaq. Looking here at crude oil once again staying in between our ranges and our areas, so really nothing has come up to give me any love in crude oil. I am gonna, put a little mark off of this region right up in here. I think that this region right up here, this fair price area before that moved down, could be valid, and primarily because it was acting as resistance all through here. So it was resistance, which then got broken, was unable to hold, and I still think that there's going to be some volume right around that 58.50 number. So That's the most likely region in my mind for a small reversal in crude oil. Once again, this is a very, very small level, so not a lot of it there. Gold, not a lot happening here in gold either, as it's been kind of just consolidating, chopping around a bit, so not a lot to look at here in the gold markets. Moving over to our bonds, our Aussie and our Euro. This is as close as we got to getting into some trades today. The bond market, we did not get filled. Price didn't come down into the area. The Aussie, we still have, some of you still may be in the short from Friday as we rallied into this area right in here, hit the resistance, and now have started to sell off. Eventually, my target's going to be down here at this little bit of support right through there. We could make it all the way down to here, but I think that this is where I would be looking to take most of my profits off the table. Matter of fact, at this point, if you've not already done so, at the very least, move your stop down to above this pivot high so that you've locked in some protection. This pivot high is really a good one because we had this little gap fill area. We filled the gap and then immediately it traded down. So a good place for stop movements. The Euro, still have this breakdown area. Price still hasn't gotten below it, so we're waiting on the Euro. And the Canadian, we tried today to get above the breakout, was unable to do so, and that really just makes that breakout a little bit more valuable kind of going forward. So not a whole lot happening. And then obviously the other markets that we have set up, the Great British Pound, the Japanese Yen. The Great British Pound, I really haven't had much of a high probability setup in this one in a while. There may be something down in here. I'm not going to mark it off yet, as I think we're still fairly far away. You know what? I'll mark it off. Let's put it on the chart so that we remember it. So there is a little bit of a region in here, I guess, that we can kind of use as that fair price area. Price hasn't returned to that particular spot yet, and once again, it acted as kind of a ceiling here in the past. And there's a lot of psychological reasons as to why you might have some buy orders that would accumulate in here, especially after it was a resistance point, a ceiling in the past. So kind of keep that area in mind going forward. Japanese yen, we're getting there slowly but surely. We're getting to a potential opportunity in the yen, just not quite there as of yet. So, like I said, not a whole lot happening today, but we will keep our eyes on some things happening going forward this week. Got a couple of emails from you asking some specific questions, so do me a favor, keep those emails coming. If there's something I can do for you, please don't hesitate to reach out, chuck@iiefinancial.com. Thank you so much, everybody, and I appreciate y'all joining me. Have a great day. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.